That's right, Mike. I'm in Paradise, which is the hardest hit town in all of California. Of course, this is Northern California. Fire is also going on in the southern part of the state. The Woolsey fire there has burned about 83% of national park land, the Santa Monica Mountain National Recreation Area. In total, about 14,000 hectares and growing. Also, there's another fire there called the Hill Fire, which has burned 2,500 hectares so far. 2 deaths linked to those fires. Now, I'm here in Northern California in Paradise, where about fire authorities estimate about 80% of this town of Paradise has burned at some point. Now, fatalities unfortunately went up overnight, going from 29 to 42. That officially makes it the deadliest fire in California history. Also the most destructive, at least 260 commercial buildings destroyed and 6,500 homes. It will take time for this community to recover.
The Northern California town of Paradise turned into a living hell. This is ground zero for California's most destructive fire ever. Lives lost, homes destroyed, hardly anything is left standing.
Basically, the vegetation is as dry as it's ever been recorded before. The issues that we're running into is pretty much every single ember that flies away from the fire and hits the ground catches on fire.
In a massive effort to help the tens of thousands of evacuees, communities are banding together. East Avenue Church is one of 22 pop-up shelters with no NGO affiliations and all volunteers.
And we walked in and said, "We're nurses, how can we help?" And they just almost started crying.
Denise Gunderson evacuated her home, which is still intact as far as she knows. But her daughter's home was destroyed, and the hospital she works at is so badly damaged it's not operating.
I'll come back and check your blood sugar and your blood pressure, all right? Thank you. All right.
She and a group of nurses, including her daughter, set up a triage system and are making regular rounds to check on the injured.
I'm a nurse, that's what you do. And I've been here for 5 days, probably 10, 12 hours a day. Pretty much during those hours, I don't think about what my daughter's lost, what I've lost, I walked into this place and immediately 10 of the people I saw had been my past patients on surgical units. So, I know these people. Were you able to sleep in your bed last night?
90-year-old Paradise resident Patty Saunders narrowly escaped the fire.
Everywhere we went, there was fire all around, top, all sides, in front of, and we kept stopping. We couldn't go, the traffic would stop, and then we finally got to a place where you couldn't go forward or backward. But I looked up and I saw the fire department, a big sign, Paradise, and a beautiful angel fireman with a big hose. And he was spraying everything and he was making our cars cool off.
Patty is a former actress who played a nun in the Oscar-winning film The Sound of Music. She says her prayers were truly answered. And despite the tragic circumstances so many here face, they echo that same sentiment, taking some comfort in knowing that someone is watching over them.
How are you today? Are you better?
And believe it or not, Patty Saunders, the woman in the story who played the nun in The Sound of Music, her daughter also lives in Malibu and had to evacuate her home. So mother and daughter going through similar situations on opposite parts of the state. Mike.
Boy, what are the odds of that, man? What's happening with the latest efforts to find the missing and to identify these victims at this stage?
That's right, a very difficult process as investigators still continue to look for more than 200 people reported missing, looking at shelters and trying to track down people that may not have cell phones, a lot of elderly people. Also a difficult task in trying to identify the bodies. Cadaver dogs have been brought in, which are trained to smell the scent of decomposed bodies. Also mobile DNA labs and forensic anthropologists are here. Those are experts in studying human remains. So far, just 3 of the bodies have been identified. Mike.